Okay, so, I normally use my computer for these videos. Um, this light is really bright. It's very hard for me to move around right now, so I'm using my cell phone, unfortunately. Because again, this light is really bright. I have learned today why they say not to use ibuprofen if you've been floxed. I very much believe I have been floxed, and it was a very almost immediate response. On Friday, I had some muscle spasms in my back, and I couldn't take the pain from it. And I also thought that the anti-inflammatory properties of the ibuprofen would help. So I took 3 ibuprofen, which is 600 milligrams. And it relieved the pain a little bit, and it relieved the spasms a little bit. I also had a little bit of a headache coming on, but I didn't pay too much mind of that. I went ahead and took some guaifenesin and some sinus medication because there have been, some sinus stuff going around, and it's allergy season, so I thought it was that, because when I pushed on my shoulders, it didn't relieve it, which to me meant it wasn't a tension headache, and it was my whole head, so it wasn't one of my migraines, because my migraines are left hemispherical migraines, and my zonisamide usually does a very good job at keeping my migraines at bay. Now, I do get them on occasion, but like I said, they're left hemispherical migraines. I think since I started getting them, I maybe have had 1 or 2 that involved my whole head. So it was either a tension headache or a sinus headache, as far as I thought. And it didn't feel like a tension headache because, like I said, normally whenever it's a tension headache, I can push on my shoulder and get instant relief. And that didn't happen. So I thought maybe it was a sinus headache coming on, so I took some sinus medication, and the ibuprofen I was already taking from my back. So the headache didn't go away, but it was more of a nuisance than really painful on Friday. On Saturday, later on in the day, I started getting a terrible, terrible headache. And it was in the front of my head. Let's see if I can do this without shaking the phone too much. It was kind of like right here, up to the top right here, and then this area in my temples. So, and I don't get headaches like that very often. That's very, very rare. I can't even tell you the last time I've had a headache there. It was just really, really weird, and it hurt. I didn't have any light sensitivity or noise sensitivity or anything like that. It didn't make me nauseous, and it just hurt really bad. So again, I reached for the ibuprofen, and I've been keeping away from it like it's the plague, just because I've been told that with Floxies, you keep away from NSAIDs, like ibuprofen, like naproxen, like, ketoprofen, and I think Toradol is one, Ultram, I believe, is one. There's a whole list of them. And you also stay away from steroids. So I tried to stay away from the ibuprofen. But that's all I have is the ibuprofen. I still haven't heard back from pain management. And it was a headache. And Tylenol has never done anything for me, even as a child, a very young child. Tylenol never took down a fever, nothing for me ever. So my mom always had to alternate with ibuprofen, even younger than it recommends on the bottle. She had to call my doctor and, get approval for that because Tylenol would never take my fevers down. And I was a very sickly child. So I was constantly running fevers. And the doctor had to okay that, go ahead and give me ibuprofen because the Tylenol wasn't taking the fevers down. Tylenol has never, ever worked for me for anything. So there's no sense in me even trying it. And so I don't even carry it on me, usually. So I have the ibuprofen on me, which I am getting ready to take out of my purse so that I don't ever have it on me. So Saturday I had the headache, and I was at my cousin's housewarming party / his son's 4th birthday party. And I didn't want to leave that early. I had finally gotten myself out of the house, so I reached for the ibuprofen. Sunday, I was finally spending time with my son and my mother-in-law, and I was out of the house, and I didn't want to cut the day short, and I had that headache coming on again, and so I reached for that ibuprofen. And when I used to take ibuprofen, I would take 2 to 4, just depending on what intensity of pain I had. This time, I would only take 2 or 3, just because I didn't want to take that many. I was trying to take the lowest dose, but that's how bad the headache was on Saturday and Sunday. And then Monday, I wake up after just a few hours of sleep. I wake up in the early morning hours. My left leg, has this pain going through it that I've experienced several times in the past. I think it's been going on for about 2 months now. It's a pain that goes from the top of my femur down to my ankle. And it feels like it's in the bone. And it feels like it's going from my hip down through my thigh bone, my femur. And it stops. And then it feels like it's going from my knee down my shin and stops at my ankles. And then it feels like my ankles themselves and my Achilles tendon hurt. However, this was different because this time whenever I took one of my last few pain medications, it did not take it away. And that has never happened. Anytime I take a pain medication for it, it takes it away. It did not. And that's what scared me, because it didn't take it away, and it always has. So me and Andrew were trying to rub my leg, and of course, you can't get to the bone except for my knee, and the only relief I got was in my knee whenever I could touch my knee, the bone in my knee. And he tried to rub my foot, and whenever he did, I yelped, because I noticed whenever I would flex my big toe back, the bones and tendons in the top of my foot almost burned. They hurt so bad. And it made my Achilles tendon go from hurting to burning. And then as soon as I relaxed that toe, the Achilles tendon went back to just hurting, and the top of my foot would stop hurting. So it was a new experience, and so I've been couch bound. I've had to have help every time I've gotten up to go to the bathroom. And when I put weight on it, I can put weight on it, but my leg feels very, very, very tight. It feels like there's rubber bands in my knees about to snap. And that scares me with the whole tendon rupture thing. I cannot flex my foot when there's weight on it. When I do that, then I get that rubber band feeling in my ankles. And it's a painful tightness. It's not like in my knee. In my knee, it just feels tight. It hurts and then it feels tight. With my ankles, they hurt, and then when I flex with weight on them, it's a hurtful tightness, if that makes any sense. So my left leg is pretty much dead weight. My mom was going to come back after Andrew went to work to help me go to the bathroom one last time for the night. And I ended up having a bathroom emergency before she could get here. And I tried to wait, but I couldn't. So I had to crawl to the bathroom, and I had to balance the ball of where your shin bone connects at your knee. I had to balance that on my left leg on the floor. I could not put any other part of my knee on the floor, or I would scream bloody murder. And I had to put all my weight on my right knee, which of course then hurt my right knee. And I was on carpet. We have a area rug. I'll show you. We have an area rug. Here's the couch that I'm at now. I had to get my leg up and around. I had to get to the floor. There's my dog. And of course, she tried to help me the whole time, and she couldn't. And I got to the floor, and then I got to the hardwood floor thinking, oh no, because that doorway right there is my bathroom. And the carpet alone hurt really bad. I was afraid of how I was going to do this. So luckily this blanket was within my reach, and I put it down on the floor and kind of shimmied my way to the bathroom door. But in order to do that, I had to use my arms and my stomach and my mid-back muscles. So that caused quite a bit of pain, especially trying to get up onto the toilet. That was a task. And then getting back, my knees were already sore. I had to do everything over, and then I had to get up onto the couch. Then luckily my mom texted me. As soon as I get up here and get halfway comfortable, she texts me saying she's on her way. So now, before she left, we got out my walker, which I stupidly did not have out. We got my walker out, and since I had to use the bathroom right before she left, I went ahead and I made sure I could swing my leg out myself and use the walker and take myself to the bathroom. And I told her, I said, don't help me at all. Just let me do everything. Make sure I can do everything before you leave. And if I need your help, I'll ask it. But let me see if I can do everything myself. That way I'm set before you leave. And that way if I get up in the middle of the night, while everybody's gone, then I know I'm okay. So in other words, my sister's probably going to be staying with me tomorrow night. The whole point of this is I am 99.9% convinced now that I am floxed. That is just too big of a coincidence, because going back now to every time that I've taken ibuprofen, sorry, my mouth is really dry, ibuprofen, I've always gotten a rebound headache from it, and which isn't uncommon, but I always have. Or I've felt worse and just thought it was my sickness getting worse. So it's starting to make sense now. So if you think you have been floxed, definitely stay away from the NSAIDs. Stay away from steroids.